Hi, welcome to Help with Hannah and Calvin. I'm Calvin Reed.
I'm Hannah Jones, and we are here to answer your questions. This podcast is brought to you by Little India. This is a beloved local family-owned restaurant with 4 locations throughout the Denver area and a coffee shop. Some of my favorites on the menu include the chicken korma, tamarind margarita, and all the samosas. If you live in Colorado, you should make this place a regular stop, and if you're visiting our great city, be sure you don't miss Little India. Visit Little India Denver to find a location near you.
And thank you, Dude IDK Studios in Denver, where we are recording.
How was your week, dude?
It was good. Nothing crazy happened in like the good way, which I'll take, right? Like I'll take a boring week
Yeah.
anytime. I'll always take it. How was your week? You did a lot of traveling.
I went to Seattle. It was so good.
Love it.
The first night, so we flew in on a Thursday, which like I had booked the travel a long time. I always just go Thursday through Sunday. That's my like go-to. And we tried to get a Thursday show, but Seattle's kind of a smaller scene than most places.
Okay.
So we like messaged like 4 different places, and then none of them were having a show on that Thursday. And we were like, oh, and that's just all the shows that would ever be on a Thursday. And we're like, oh, okay. And so we just went out for sushi instead and like
Cute.
gabbed. And it was so fun. It was so fun to just gab and gab and gab.
You gibbled
Seattle,
the gabble.
yeah. Seattle has my favorite sushi restaurant of all time that I went with my ex to for his birthday. So I had to go back and kind of reclaim it.
As you should. What makes it so amazing?
It's yummy.
Well, yeah, but like, do they just have like your favorite roll of all time? Like what about it makes it your favorite?
Okay, so it's Hawaiian fusion.
Ooh. Okay.
So it has like a lot of like random citrus elements that like you'd think wouldn't work, or like random jalapeno elements that you'd think would maybe not work, but then it ends up being really good. So
I've tried experimental sushi before where they put like jalapenos on like everything, and I like it when they do jalapenos. I tried it once where they put cheese on it. That wasn't the tea for me.
oh no, I don't. I also don't love when rolls are deep fried.
Same.
Thing.
I'm like, it's
Disgusting.
I like fried things, but it's just too much.
They're already pretty indulgent. You don't need to make them like more indulgent with
Yeah.
oil
And it's
shit.
filling. It's like really filling when you have the fried ones where it's like kind of already filling as it is, just because it's like,
Yeah.
I only go for sushi when it's all you can eat. I don't go for like 2
Oh
rolls.
damn.
I don't want to. That won't fill me up. That's like one small piece of salmon if you add it up in between like the 2 rolls.
I guess that's true.
So I just am like, all you can eat. Let me see where I can go. So I don't have sushi all that often.
Because every time you do, you get fucking sick.
I get sick, and then I'm also spending like $45 because it's so expensive. But I
You're like,
need
God,
it.
I wish there was a way to have sushi, but less of it and for cheaper. It's
And
like
I'll just-
actually every other way to have sushi.
But it just doesn't feel like it's worth it otherwise. Like I can't get it in my mind that it's like the right way to go.
It was an expensive. It was an expensive meal. I mean, like not crazy expensive, but just like more expensive than going to like Chipotle.
Yeah.
And we get the bill, and we split it. We split all of everything we ordered. So we just said split it 50-50.
Yeah.
They deliver us the bill, and both bill like in big font. In the main chunk where your numbers would be is like the numbers of the total ticket. And then they have like smaller, like, oh, this is what you're paying. And so both of us, like, my eyes were like so wide thinking that was half of it. And he was like, no, half is down below. Don't worry. I had the same reaction.
Yeah, that would be like, yeah, if it went from like being $100 to $200 or something like that, $200, oh my word. For me, fucking $50 is a lot for food. It depends.
Yeah. Okay, so what's gay concerts?
So I went to Chapel Roan recently,
Yeah.
and I'm obsessed with her.
I should have gone.
She'll come back. It'll just be like way more expensive in a significantly less intimate venue, but like it'll be so much fun still.
Yeah.
It was just not to like rub it in, but
No, you are.
no, it was just like I love concerts where everyone there is gay. They're so much nicer. I'm not like worried. Like you can like because gay people are just so just like, oh, okay, I'm just at the concert. I'm happy. So like you can push them on accident. They're not going to get mad at you. They'll say sorry that they were in the way that you pushed them. And it's great. I'm going to say sorry for pushing you. Let me just hit the mic. I'm going to say sorry for pushing you. They're going to say sorry for like me pushing them, and it's gonna be amazing. It's like cool. Like everybody's just so chill. The merch lines, I don't think I'm gonna like get hit or anything for like waiting in merch. But at other concerts, everybody's so intense. And like everybody, it feels like a fight's gonna happen, and that never happens at gay concerts. So I love them. Like concerts with gay artists or just like a big gay fan base. Chef's kiss. They're amazing.
I think the only like expressly gay concerts I've been to have been of Mice and Men. No,
Okay.
of Montreal.
Okay.
Such
Mice
a
and Men.
different vibe.
Of Mice and Men's gay, huh?
Of Mice and Men is so straight, right?
Yeah, I know. I was like, that
and
doesn't
of
sound.
Montreal
That doesn't
is
feel very
extraordinarily
gay.
gay. And Mitski.
Oh, Mitski's super gay. Yeah, I haven't been to a Mitski show.
Mitski was a little bit disturbing because it was. I think I went to see her when I was like 27, and it was the first concert I'd been to where I was like, "Oh my god, am I old?" Because she had just had like a few like blowing up on TikTok.
Okay.
And so there was like a lot of fucking 18-year-olds there.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, there was like a girl with cat ears." And I was like, and like a lot of tutus. And I was like, "Okay, word."
That
It's like a
doesn't sound
YA anime club vibe more so than
Mitski concert.
than what I necessarily expected when I first started listening to her music. But no shade, obviously, to all of the gay little teens being their freaky selves.
Yeah, go off, be yourself.
Yeah.
You're weird, but that's okay. We're all weird. Aren't her concerts like you're supposed to be like silent the whole time? Like, aren't her concerts just like a different vibe, or am I thinking somebody
They
else?
are a lower energy vibe. You are not supposed to be silent. There are definitely like a few different songs you can sing along to.
Okay.
But I would say that the majority of the songs are not like party songs.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never been to a Mitski concert. I've just heard a lot of things about her, but I've heard that they're really fun concerts. You want to know why? Because they have a gay audience.
There was that TikTok of a Mitski concert where she was like had this like kind of vulnerable monologue, because she does do that sometimes during her, and she like paused for a while and it was like dead silent, and this one girl in the front goes, "Mother is mothering," and every single person goes, "Oh my god."
I saw that TikTok, and I was one of the people that was like, why is everyone offended? If I was on stage and someone said mother is mothering, I would be so happy, but I was apparently like, I missed the vibe.
Yeah, I think if you had ever been there and you understood the vibe, you would get that it was just so cringy. Just like, she's trying to like do something that like feels cool and meaningful.
Which makes sense. Yeah, I'm just such like I like I said, I've never been to her concert, and I know that there are other artists who do concerts like that. I just always tend to go to like really high energy ones. But I seriously love how nice everybody is. The last time I went to a concert with a lot of straight people, I think was Orville Peck, because he is kind of a mix. Like you'd be surprised how many straight boys are like, Orville. It's like interesting.
Weird.
And they were the ones like trying to mosh, and I was like, we're literally listening to folk country music with a guy wearing a
Mosh
fringe
to
mask.
what song?
Exactly. They were trying to mosh to like Lafayette, which is like probably one of his more faster paced songs, but it's
I
like
guess
but
not moshable though.
that's what I thought, and I was like, why are you trying to mosh? Like, I'm literally like, stop. You're weird. And they were the straight people. I was like, this is you. Stop it. Go to a straight person concert. Go see Dave Matthews Band. Okay, they are lucky to have you, and they will mosh.
Can I tell you, I've been to a Dave Matthews Band concert.
Yeah, I imagine it was a good concert. They're a good band, but they're just really straight.
Very straight.
Right? Like, it's like you'll have a good time. You can mosh. You'll be with the straights. You'll be with your people. Go there.
Yeah. I've also been to multiple Fish shows.
Really?
No, just one Fish show, actually.
Oh, okay. That was pretty straight, I'm assuming.
No, multiple. Sorry.
Multiple, okay. I'm glad you had to count. So 2?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen an artist twice.
And you know what? I think, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself.
Are they
I
the
think
only
Fish
artists?
is the only artist I've ever seen twice. Wait. I'm actually going to...
Fish is the only artist you've seen twice.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm seeing Orville Peck a second time this year, so at least mine
I've
will
got
be
to
him.
see someone again.
You have to
pronto.
see somebody again. See Mitski again.
Yeah. ASAP. Okay. Whew. That was upsetting. Okay, so let me talk about So on Twitter recently, there have been all these tweets of like, so Taylor Swift released this video to promote her upcoming album, and her voice is really raspy, and everyone's like, everyone's starting to talk about how like no one wants to admit that long COVID is like fucking up your. Okay, it keeps swinging out in front of you.
It does
That's
keep
the
swinging,
problem.
yeah.
So it's this one.
Oh my gosh, it's the one I always forget
Sorry,
exists.
we're doing
and there we go. It's
mic
so tight.
stuff. And then you should point this thing back toward your mouth a little bit. Sorry, I've been thinking about this actually the whole time.
No,
the
you
podcast
stared
been
at it.
going
You
on.
stared at it, and
I'm
I was like, I know
sorry,
it's
you
moving back,
saw
but
me
I was like,
staring.
this is the one that it is, and then I was like, I always forget this little.
I just kept
this one
getting
exists.
nervous.
I can project. Don't worry. Everybody gets it. You weren't that. You stared more at that than when I had a pimple patch that was like fresh.
Can I tell you, Calvin? In
Yes.
my mind, I'm always like, God, I'm so mysterious. Like, no one can ever tell what I'm thinking. I have such a rich inner life that's completely closed off to the outside world. And then you'll be like fixing the mic because, like, God, this bitch is fucking staring at the mic.
Well, no, I moved it back, and I was like, I can't like move. I need to be able. I'm a hand mover talker. The podcast people don't know that, but I move my hands when I talk.
Yeah.
So I'll keep hitting the mic, or it will just stay.
Okay, so
Yes, you're the Taylor Swift raspy
have
voice.
I told you about my long COVID conspiracy?
You've mentioned it, but I don't think we've ever gone like in depth.
Okay. I personally think everyone has a little bit of long COVID. Everyone who's had COVID twice and is like, I don't have long COVID. But it's also like most of me and all my friends who used to run don't really run anymore.
Okay.
Right? And actually, if you look online, there's like this whole movement from running to walking. And all of the girlies are like, oh, running actually increases your cortisol levels. And like, we don't need to be doing high intensity interval training. Like, what if we were doing Pilates and yoga and walking? And it's like, yeah, all of the high intensity cardiovascular stuff that used to be very in vogue. Now it's all about like resistance training that's like not very tough on your heart. And it's like, I think it's because everybody is at about like 80% of the cardiovascular health that they were at before COVID. And I think that everybody's voice is just like a little bit raspier these days. Because like I'll like sing in my car and I'll be like, whew, different now.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, pre-COVID, I was taking voice lessons. No. And I was still a mediocre singer. Now I'm worse. I'm a worse singer, but I always just attained it to like
To what?
To me not being in voice lessons anymore. But I also run more than I used to pre-COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I
You're
also
the
never.
exception
I
to
might be
my
the exception because I also
theory.
like never ran pre-COVID. Like I didn't really work out pre-COVID. That working out and like liking that was something I discovered through COVID and since afterwards.
I used to do a fuck ton of crazy high intensity cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know, like I guess I could force myself to do it, but it just feels like so much more unpleasant now.
Well, you also had an eating disorder backing you up pre-COVID,
So true.
making you go a little bit harder than you needed to.
You're telling me not everybody is living the exact same experience as me.
Because like I saw in what 7th grade health when we learned about eating disorders. I saw this one like movie thing in class, and this one girl like had an eating disorder. She had anorexia, and she was working out so hard, and I would always be like, "How could you?" Because you're not eating, girl.
Because you're running on. So what really happens, and everybody who fasts will say this, that like fasting is so energizing. And like once you get to a point where your body kind of like interstarvation mode is like a very non-scientific phrase, but like once you get to the point where your metabolism kind of shuts down and adjusts, and instead of being fueled by food, you start being fueled by like stress and adrenaline all the time. So you start to get really anxious and really irritable, but also really energized all the time. You just like have so much energy to get shit done. It feels kind of like being on cocaine. And so then part of you is like, how could I possibly be sick and not eating enough if I have all this energy? Like I feel amazing in one sense. And it's like, yeah, I'm irritable, so I'm not really able to keep up friendships, but like God knows I'm still able to get my work done. And it's like from the eyes of the outside world, nobody thinks you have a problem if you're still getting your work done.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I can't be fun, you know? I feel like my life is like filled with so much conflict because I can't be fucking nice. But,
which is, you know, pretty rough.
But I can like run every day in addition to like writing jokes and like doing a million different things on the internet and working my full-time job. And
wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound like an equal
And you
payoff.
can't sleep. So there's more hours in the day when you're anorexic. So you feel amazing. You get everything done that you could ever possibly want to get done.
Interesting, except,
sleep and
sleeping and
enjoying
life.
Yeah.
And like the little things,
Yeah.
liking your body, just
love,
like the cute little
good
things.
relationships with other people,
Positivity.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's definitely, the sacrifices we make.
Oh yeah, I'm not advocating for anorexia in case any impressionable listeners think that I am.
I would be quite shocked given how you're always like, I'm happy now that I'm not. You'd hope people listen.
Yeah.
I'd be, yeah. Oh, okay. So maybe it's a mix between long COVID and body image issues getting better.
Well, I kind of think that the broader trends that we're seeing, like the trend of walking and the trend of Pilates and the trends of ditch your cardio and only do strength training, I think those trends have to do somewhat
That I agree with, yeah.
broadly overall, the average person has less cardiovascular capacity than they did before.
I can see that. Yeah, especially with like the super intense like gym bros that like didn't care about COVID, aren't vaccinated, probably got it quite a few times. They are, and like they're the ones that are like pushing, like I guess they're like the workout influencers, right? If they can't do as much, it's gonna like trickle down. If they're like, oh yeah, I'm not running anymore because I'm just gonna do this, well, they're in denial about their long COVID because they're in denial about COVID. Then it trickles down. Because I mean, it's always those people. Yeah. Is there any like? I feel like there's another one. Oh, like people talked about like because COVID messes with your taste buds and like your olfactory skills, nose skills,
Skills?
like your ability to smell things. I think it's a skill. I don't know.
Your nose is actually incredibly skilled at smelling things. I love that.
I don't know. I just have always thought of it as a skill. And I know that some people like that's been in effect. Like my brother, after getting COVID, his like, I don't know if he has like long COVID, but like he now like his like cilantro gene switched. So pre-COVID, he loved cilantro, and post-COVID, he doesn't.
I'm going to start masking 100% of the time just because I can't be one of those cilantro people.
Yeah. Like
that's so embarrassing.
Right? Because my mom has a cilantro gene. So I'm like, what happened in your COVID that made you not like cilantro now, you weirdo? Could be long COVID.
I think I have a rosemary gene.
Do you not like rosemary?
I think I'm allergic to rosemary, actually. It makes me like stuffy and shit.
Is November just like a horrible time for you to eat?
No, but I'll pick it off and I'll avoid it if I see it. And then sometimes I'll taste soup and I'll be like, oh, this soup is disgusting. Why would anyone like it? And it turns out it's because it has like a lot of rosemary.
Interesting. Okay, you might be.
Anyway, cemeteries?
Yeah, I love me a good cemetery. I don't know. I just love them. There's one in Denver that has a whole ass tower. It's called the Tower of Memories. If you're ever visiting Denver, it's so cool. Open until 4:30. And it's just like it's like a ginormous mausoleum.
Whoa.
But there's 4 levels, and it's filled with like bodies and stuff. On the 4th level, there's like a cathedral that's surrounded by bodies, and then it has like a red stained glass light shining through. And I was like, the people building this wanted to make the creepiest mausoleum that they could, and it's so cool.
It serves.
The basement is super, super cold, freezing, and like it's frigid. Last time I went, I was in shorts, and it like just I could only be like there 5 minutes. And it's so old. It was built in like the 20s, and I just like love walking around a cemetery. The founders of Coors are buried in the cemetery, not the mausoleum, but nearby. I know. I just love cemeteries. They're so much fun. Like I like seeing the oldest person we can find. Like you were dead a long time ago. Like, you don't even know about the Spanish flu, and we have COVID now. That's crazy.
My friend recently sucked dick in a cemetery, and she was like, bucket list moment.
Really?
She's that vibe.
I'd be friends with this friend. I think my sucking dick fantasy was at a haunted location, never a cemetery for me personally.
Haunted location?
Yeah, I'm not going to like give it away because it's in Colorado. But
you want the ghost to watch?
I don't know. Like there's something about it where I'm like, it's haunted, but not like a graveyard. I don't know. Like I don't want the ghost to watch, but I want them to like be aware that I'm there.
Word.
And I feel like at the cemetery, they're like watching me. I've done a joint walk in a cemetery. That's close enough.
Yeah, I've smoked weed in plenty of cemeteries. In my college cemetery, there was one time in my creative writing class, my teacher was teaching us about Dios de los Muertos, and she sent us out into the cemetery, and she wanted us to do a little creative writing exercise based on a grave that we found. Because the cool thing about Mexicans and deaths is that they're not like weirdly reverent the way that we are. They're just like, yeah, these were people, they're dead now. And that's why everyone has a much healthier perspective on death there. But I feel like in Protestant American culture, we're like, let's never talk about it. And it's disrespectful to engage with death in any way that is authentic or intuitive.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So we go into this. And I find this grave, and because it's a historic cemetery, so these are from like hundreds of years ago, and it's this woman. She got married to her husband. They were buried next to each other.
Love that.
They got married. They were like 20 and 21, and then like 3 years into their marriage, she died suddenly and unexpectedly, and then like 3 weeks later, he died, and their little shared gravestone said they were not long separated.
Yeah, that'd make me cry.
If he doesn't kill himself when I die, I don't want it.
That happened with my great grandparents, where it's like one of them died and then the other one stopped taking medicine, so she died less than 6 months later.
Wow.
And they, my parents, because they died when I was like 2, so they were like, oh yeah, like one of them died of a broken heart. I was like, aw. So in my head, I was like, of course that could happen. You just have a broken heart and you die. Like, duh.
That's beautiful.
I actually did a college show tour for Day of the Dead. We did a college show too. It was called Miranda's Nightmare. It was incredibly whitewashed, but it was about the Day of the Dead.
You need to call up those social justice people.
Maybe I will. I was a ghost. I was a ghost in it.
Oh, it's okay for a ghost to be whitewashed.
Well, yeah, but they changed the name of one of the characters. They like changed. It was Miguel, and they changed it to Michael.
Oh,
They were like, Michael, we're good. And the worst part is the person who wrote the show is like a white guy. He's like he's a professor at my college. And he was a white guy. So I was like, why'd you like, he's just like changing the theme of the show, but it's like about like the Day of the Dead and we're all like dancers in it. It's a whole thing. So whenever someone mentions it, I'm just like, I get brought back to me as a ghost.
Incredible.
Me screaming at the poor audience anyways.
Okay, before we get into the questions, I have some shows coming up. Thank you guys so much for coming out to Portland and Seattle. I have my new material show in Denver every month, the first Wednesday. These have been selling out pretty far in advance, but the next one is May 1st, and it'll probably be sold out by the time and then after that it's June 5th. So if you can't get tickets to May 1st, get tickets to June 5th. Then on June 6th, this is so important. On June 6th, I have my first ever headlining show in Los Angeles at the Lyric Hyperion, which is such a cool venue. Everyone was like, this is the cool space. Do this place. It's a little bigger than I would normally get, given how many people are on my text list there. So I'm just like really, really hoping that a lot of you show up. So if you are there, please buy tickets and please buy them early. And if you do not live in Los Angeles, but you have any friends in Los Angeles, this is a moment where you could, for free, support an artist. Send them one of my reels that you think is funny, and let them know that I'm performing in Los Angeles on June 6th.
And I'm doing like a celebrity roast on April 20th in Denver. And then I also have shows April 21st in Denver, April 25th at Franco's Bar. And then I'm doing one at the end of the month here at Dude IDK.
Fun.
It's going to be super fun. Can't wait.
This podcast is sponsored by the Patreon. Patrons have first priority to get their questions answered, and they also receive a bonus episode every month, and it's only $3.
If you want to ask a question to get answered in a future episode, you can find the link to that form in the podcast description or on either of our link trees or on any of our social media platforms.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Question number 1. Should I try to get back with my girlfriend? Girlfriend left me a month ago, gently suggesting I should get my life together, realizing that a manipulative relationship with a best friend turned roommate could be where I was spending my energy instead of trying to make things work with this girlfriend. I've been working on setting boundaries with the roommate, but I'm conflicted about trying to reconcile with ex because of similar situation in my past that really derailed my life. Signed, Baked Bean.
Well, Baked Bean, I feel like only a month is just like not a long enough amount of time to like be away from someone to like try and make it work, if that makes sense. Like to me, a month, you're still like grieving. If you've been dating this person like a long time.
Yeah.
I take forever to get over people. So to me, I'm like, in a month, I'm still like kind of sad that something's done, much less, like able to feel like I've like grown. Like, because if it sounds like she wants you to get your life together, very few people will get their life together completely in a month. That's not like really something that like is a thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is like, okay, if the discrete problem is that your life is not together and you have a manipulative relationship with your best friend turned roommate, and all that you've changed is that you're working on setting boundaries with the roommate, you're not even close to like fixing all of those problems. And so if your ex wants to get back with you, even though you haven't made the changes that would make your relationship tenable, then that's poor judgment on your ex's part. It doesn't sound like either of you want to get back together out of a rational, like, acknowledgement that you have changed the circumstances. It sounds like you just like would be more comfortable together, and you don't want to have to do the hard work of like making a life on your own.
Yeah. And like maybe it is something where it's like, you know, if you feel the exact same way you do right now in like 6 months, or, you know, like giving it some time to like actually like let your life, you like build something like alone, or, you know, maybe you get a new lease, or maybe the relationship, like the boundaries are enforced and actually you see a difference in the friendship with that roommate or something like that. I feel like that's like a better way to gauge if you still want to be with someone. Like if you still feel that same way after those changes have been made, then maybe it's time to reconcile. But I feel like you do have to like sit in it for a second before.
Yeah.
Although if I was in your shoes, I'd want to do the same thing. So like hypocrite here, but I do think that that's like the move, is to just like let it sit and wait just a little bit longer.
I will say that in my last relationship, we broke up once for 2 months and got back together.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we broke up again. So I would say that like the problems that caused us to break up were not in any way fixed. Like they had like gone away for a little while, but they just came back later on.
Okay.
But when I wanted to get back together with him, there was no like, should I get back together with him? It was like, this is what I'm doing. I hope my friends aren't pissed. like there was no question in my mind that I wanted to be with him again.
Mm-hmm. And you were broken up for more than a month still, right? Like if this is like literally just like, even, you know, like just a month is like really just, that's like, is April to May. Like, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like that long. Like months.
Yeah.
Was that still on the shorter side? Yes. But even then you didn't have a question of it, which like if he feels the exact same way again in a month, that's enough. That's again, some more time for boundaries to be enforced with what could be manipulative, you know, like roommate energy or whatever is going on there.
You also have to be very wary of a dynamic where, because I know a lot of people who do this, where it's just like breaking up every so often is just like a part of the relationship. And like, I definitely knew that with my ex, like we could break up once as a fluke and get back together. But once we broke up again, it was like, this is dead serious forever, because if we got back together again, it would just become a manipulative tool that I use to like get whatever I want and to like get him to act faster or whatever.
Yeah.
So that would be a concern of mine.
I have some friends that are the exact same way. And once you reach enough times of breaking up and getting back together, it's the boy who cried wolf. 100%. Your friends will care just a little bit less about what's going on in your relationship. Sorry, they will.
So true. They'll be caring way less. You don't get the big breakup moment.
After the third time, like, I'm sorry, it's like, okay, what's going to change? So
we had a joke where if I was like, I'm going to break up with you over like something silly, to be clear, and we were joking, he would be like, oh yeah, for how long this time? Joke's on him forever. Anyway.
So yeah, give it some time. Baked bean.
Definitely give it some time. And I think generally if you're still questioning it, I think if you're like, should we break up? The answer is usually yes, you should not be together. And if you're like, should we get back together? The answer is no, you should not be together. Like, when you should be with someone, there's just not really usually any questioning. And I don't know of anyone who's ever been like, yeah, I really questioned whether we should be together, and then I stuck around and it was super worth it, you know?
I only know one person that was like that.
Really? Who?
Michelle Obama.
But then here's the thing.
Is she happy? We don't know.
War criminal.
I thought you were going to say marriage. And no, you said war criminal. No, that's like super valid. Yeah. Like, you know, with the second murder gets involved, I unfortunately don't know how to feel.
Michelle Obama was that bitch. And it just like she could have I'm not saying that like, oh, her marriage to Barack is like bad or whatever. I'm just saying that like I think she could have had an amazing life with an amazing family no matter who she ended up with.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Michelle fucking Obama. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was set up for success no matter what.
And if she was questioning like, hey, is this guy the best guy? She got her answer, which is that no, he's killed so many people.
No, and that is so true.
He's not the best guy.
Yeah, and she also said it was like she was like already into marriage for years when it happened. So it's also just like not even something comparable to like this situation. Like I think she was married for
So
like
true.
10 years, and she said years 10 to 15 were like hard, but then they've been married like 25 now, and she said
Which
after 15
years were those from our perspective? Were those the drone strike years or were those different years?
they could have been the drone strike years. They really Michelle was like, I just didn't know. I didn't know if it was worth it. You know what? After his second term, I said we can make it work, baby. I don't know, that'd be pretty funny.
Charming. Okay. Thank you so much for writing in. Next question.
Question number 2. Help. One of my friends doesn't like me. Relatable. No. I, 25 female, belong to a friend group of like 5 girls. We all met when we moved to the city, and we hang out multiple times a week, mostly with all 5 together. I really love this group, and it's my first tight-knit friend group, but I find myself wishing that one friend, we'll call her A, wasn't a part of it. She is nice enough to the group, but I find myself feeling slighted by her actions all the time. She puts me down in the little things she says, and it's gotten worse over time. I have no idea what beef there would be between us, and she seems super unbothered by me, which makes me feel like if I said anything about it, I would be seen as starting drama. What do I do? Signed, Beefing in Boise.
Something that I find funny that people do a lot when they write and they'll be like, we'll call them A, and then never repeat the A.
Yeah. They just said she. It's like, we knew the friend. Yeah. You only said it was one friend.
We'll call her A. She is slighted by actions all the time. Okay, anyway.
Okay, Pretty Little Liars. Anyways.
So been here.
Same. I've literally had multiple friendships like this.
This is like a canon experience. And I'll be completely honest, the way that it tends to resolve itself for most people is that for most people, you stop having tight-knit friend groups, which is not to say that you don't still have like group hangs. You have group hangs all the time, but you just stop having a group of exactly 5 people who always hang out in the same configurations. Usually it'll be like 5 people in different combos. And so the dynamic just changes every single time that you're together. And you're only really friends with the people who you also hang out one-on-one with. So like if you're hanging out with people that's like only in a group of 5, that is kind of a 20s thing.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone I know who has something similar to that. Like guys will have like their guy group that hangs out like once every couple of weeks, once every month, but like multiple times a week, exactly 5 girls. This feels like something that is not sustainable forever, but you're so right that it is very special when you're 25, and I'm so happy that you have this. So I wouldn't say that you need to like give up on this friend group, but I would say, what if you started framing this in your mind as this isn't going to be forever? And you should very thoughtfully make room in your life for other new friends. Because for whatever reason, people are going to move, people are going to fight. Pardon me. People are going to move, people are going to fight. And this tight-knit group of 5 in its exact dynamic will not last forever. And I think that to become a well-rounded person, you should try to have other people and other dynamics in your life so that you can continue growing and not get like stuck in this pattern.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
And then once you have framed it that way to yourself, I think you should think of this woman as like pretty disposable. It's like, yeah, I have this tight-knit group of 5 friends. I don't really like one of them. Whatever.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good way to like look at it, especially if you don't. I do understand, because I've had friend groups where I've been like, am I the only one here who like sees what's going on?
Yeah.
And it can get kind of awkward. It's happened to me. In like teens and 20s. I don't have experience beyond that, but it's happened during both. And like sometimes it's like a waiting game of just like waiting until that person kind of leaves. But it is smart to recognize that like it's good to have other friend groups or have other dynamics in that same group. I've had friend groups last a little bit longer than like they feel just like longer. Obviously I can't speak to like forever, but they've lasted a very long time. But it's because I have like a decent dynamic with everybody. And so it's like we can hang out like just one-on-one, or we can hang out in a smaller version of the group, and it's not anything different. So I really think that like finding different dynamics is
But
very
also,
important.
is that friend group your whole social
Nope.
life? No, it's probably like 1/10 of your social
Exactly.
life.
So yeah.
So to me, that's like so different
Mm-hmm.
than like a tight knit group of 5 girls who are your main friends. They cannot last as your main friends, but they can last forever as
Yeah,
1/10
yeah.
of your social life, 100%. Yeah, I would say that most people's instinct, because most people go through this to some degree, and most people's instinct is to like bring it up. Like next time you're alone with your like best friend from the group, you like bring it up, and I will say it just like never goes well.
Yeah, because either they'll be like shell shocked, and then it just kind of creates like a weird tension, or they'll like tell the other friend, and then
Yeah, either you guys are going to start jockeying for position basically, or all your friends are going to like think of you as like you said, starting drama, or and the fact is that if this girl is like consistently putting you down, it's probably out of like a lot of weird insecurity, and you like trigger some random insecurity for her, and she is on her way out anyway. Like bitchy people just always self-destruct no matter what. And
Yeah.
I will say that like I had a problem in my early 20s where I was so like obsessed with like my values and like justice or whatever that I would just like make myself the center of shit like that. And like now I think when I notice that someone is being cunty, I would so much rather just like wait for them to pick a fight with someone else.
I don't like confrontation, so I've always been like, I'll let them do something on their own. But
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that did help me once when I was in like a younger part of it, and I felt the same way where I was like close with like all but one person of the friend group, something happened to where it was me and that one friend were kind of the only two in like the town areas in college. And we ended up bonding kind of like on our own. And it made me appreciate the whole group dynamic more because I, again, had like that one-on-one. It would be like, you'd be surprised if you hang out as like 3 or 2 or 4, like something like that will kind of just change dynamics, and it'll make it seem like it's less like this group has to stay at 5. It's like it's a group of 5 people that are close. That's great. But like recognizing it's not like the main, I feel like just trying to change that in your head of like, you have these really great 5 friends. That's awesome. But don't make it seem like they're like your ride or dies.
And try to form one-on-one friendships with
With
everyone
each of
in
them,
the
yeah.
group, because that's the only way that they can last. And also, like, if you are able to form a one-on-one friendship with this girl, it'll probably assuage whatever like random insecurity is like making her want to constantly put you down.
Because that friend, yeah, because she did the same thing where I had like one friend that just was like, I've always been like a roasty style with my friends, but she would always like roast me just like a little bit harder than everybody else. And I
Yep.
was like, okay, fam. But then once we like created our own friendship, that like went away. That went
Totally.
away. Or it's like I kind of, and I felt like I understood them more as a person. They understood me more. And it just kind of, it felt like we just connected better, and it worked out. So I really do think like maybe trying to find some time with that, and then recognizing that like, it's a friend group. It's great. It's amazing. They're there. But like friend groups aren't a whole person.
100%.
Even if like this is your main friend group right now and you don't have a shit ton of other friends right now, you're still like a more complete person. So like just recognizing that like it's friends and like that is separate from you will help you not internalize things so much with it.
100%. So I would say do bite your tongue on this one, and don't talk about it to the other friends. Ignore what she says, and if it gets to be quite overwhelming, just like pull back and put more energy elsewhere. Because if all of your friends, if it's like really fucking hurting your feelings and all of your friends are just like sitting by watching it happen, it just like doesn't sound like the best friend group that you want in your life forever. It sounds like maybe, I mean, especially, well, one thing is like when you said that like you all met when you first moved to the city, it's like, oh, yeah, I think we all do kind of have those friend groups that are oftentimes formed out of necessity, and over time you like learn how compatible you actually are with each of those people. And so probably a few of your friendships will last forever from that group, but it would be unrealistic to think that the group of 5 would last forever. They usually don't statistically.
And maybe it could, but it probably won't. Yeah. When I was in college, I was like, I'm going to be friends with every single high school friend I have, and I hate everybody who tells me that that's not going to happen. It happened. I was not friends with everybody from high school. So it's like, maybe in a world one day, but like, don't expect it.
Yeah.
because then you'll just be disappointed. And I never expected it because everyone told me not to. But then part of me wanted to like say, fuck you, you're wrong. And it just happened. It just happens. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the friendships any less important over time or anything like that. And odds are they grew in a way that became kind of annoying to you, or the red flag you found that was just kind of annoying to you. You see it again and you're like, ooh, that's way more of your personality. We can stay this far away and then it'll be great.
Yeah. Alrighty. And last, to round out this episode, I have an Am I the Asshole post.
Love it.
Am I the asshole for coming to dinner basically topless? Not in my book. That's a you're welcome moment. Okay. I've dreaded posting for a while because I'm afraid I might be the asshole, but I just got to know. So here goes. My parents-in-law and my brother came to visit and stay for a month with my husband, 27 male, and I, 28 female, after I had my baby. Huge red flag to begin with. Okay. For context, if it makes any difference, I'm German. Husband and his family are Italian. Red flag number 2. The baby was 3 months old at the time, and I breastfeed her. Usually, I'd just nurse on the couch in the living room, but because company was staying, I'd go to my bedroom. After I nursed her, she'd fall asleep and take a nap, and I'd have some free time. Since family was visiting, I tried to plan her naps around our mealtime to spend time with family uninterrupted. My mother-in-law has this thing that when food is on the table, you be there pronto. Sometimes I'd be late coming to a meal because babies can be unpredictable and she wouldn't fall asleep right away or nurse longer than normal. To this, my mother-in-law would barge into my room and announce food was ready, all impatient. This startled the baby and made the process last much longer than it should have. The result is I had to eat much later than everybody else, alone, and the food was cold. It left me fuming. More work to do with the baby, and I'm secluded. This happened several times. I asked my husband to talk to her and explain I can't always come on time. He talked to her, but she still did all this anyway. So I simply decided to stop being late to the dinners. The next time she barged into my room and announced food was ready, I came without hesitation. I came to the table exactly as I was, no shirt, half a bra, baby hanging on one tit. Nothing was seen as the baby's head covered up everything anyway, but still. Ensue uproar. Goes something like, mother-in-law exclaims, what the hell I'm doing at the table like this? I'm indecent. There are men at the table. I should be ashamed. I yell back, what the hell does she keep calling me to the table for if I'm not yet ready? I have no reason to be in my room alone with the baby while everyone else is having great time together. Brother and father-in-law are trying not to get in on the argument. Husband ushers me back to my room and scolds me, taking his mother's side. He means he gets I'm frustrated, but this action didn't help anything. But after that, mother-in-law didn't bother me again while I was busy with the baby. So what if I came to some meals a little after everyone had started eating? The roof didn't cave in. Anyway, everyone lived happily after. The end. Am I the asshole?
No, you're not even kind of the asshole. Not even a little bit.
No, but it's your husband, not the mother-in-law. I mean, the mother-in-law's an asshole too, but the husband is more of an asshole.
The husband and the mother, you are not even kind of an asshole. There is no world where you are the asshole in this situation unless somebody's loony boony, because you are
loony boony.
Because
I need a collection of these.
Of my little words, my gibble gabble. I say gibble gabble now.
I love it.
I said it for the first time ever on this podcast, and I just say it in my free time now. What? But literally, I'm sorry. This needed a new word. People who think anything with breastfeeding is indecent, specifically women, just like baffle me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is literally, it's called liquid gold for the first 2 weeks. How can liquid gold be wrong? Breast milk is literally called liquid gold for babies. Like, how can anything with that be wrong when it's literally how all of humanity has worked for so long?
It's also just like, if your plan is that you think it's like indecent to feed a baby, then like when someone has a month-old baby, it's just like not the time to visit for a fucking month. I cannot believe they visited for a month. You're so stupid for letting them visit for a month. Your husband is so fucking terrible. In general, like when you were like, oh, I had to eat my food cold and alone. What the fuck? Why wasn't your husband sitting at the table? Why didn't he warm up the food for you? Who cares when you're eating? Why wasn't he making it easier on you? Where was he for this whole fucking story until the point where he's scolding you? Makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, especially because if they're coming down for a month, why aren't they helping? Why aren't they offering to help? Why aren't they?
It sounds like they're making the meals.
Which, I mean, but then why? I don't know. And
brother-in-law and father-in-law do not need to be there.
No,
it could be mother-in-law by herself.
But then you would think as a mother that she would know how hard it is to sit
Yeah,
down.
but it sounds like if it was just the mother-in-law there and if the brother and father-in-law weren't there and she came to the baby hanging on one tit, she'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. Because she only got mad because there were men at the table.
Well, one thing that she mentioned the German, I don't know anything about Italian culture, but in German culture, boobs are just boobs. Like nudity is something completely different in like German. Like
In Italian culture, it's all about being crazy all the time.
it is. It's all about being crazy and having fun voices. Well, that's New Jersey Italian at least, but
Mamma mia, there are men at the table.
But like in German culture, like that is like a thing that like boobs are on like the news. Like that's like boobs really aren't like nudity in German culture. So I can see why if she's like truly from Germany, like I could see how it's even less of a problem to her in her mind.
Interesting.
I don't know about like Italian culture where that stands, but I can see why her putting that in there is like, here's something. If she's just like American and her like ancestry is from Germany, then why did you bring that up, babe? No one cares, but if you are like actually from Germany, that connects a lot of dots as to, so you're really not the asshole because your own culture even is like boobs out. Who cares? No one cares.
Interesting. I did not know that about German culture.
Yeah, it's I took German in high school, and our German teacher, horrible person, but our German teacher showed us.
Came in topless every day.
Yes, he came in. Gosh, no, he came in the ugliest fucking pants I've ever seen. And his horrible personality. But he showed us like a news clip one day from Germany, just like, oh, it was for Oktoberfest. Like he just showed us it, and it was just like live, like from Germany, just like their news, and they literally it showed women flashing us. And we were like 14 in high school, and it was just on their normal news site. So he like, you know, in Germany, no one would have cared. Like nudity is literally just viewed at differently in like that part of Europe anyways. And he was like, sorry, don't tell your parents. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to show up. Cause again, it's like, there is like that culture difference. So it doesn't surprise me that like, that's a thing. And that's the only reason why I know is because I've like seen it. And I know, and I oddly know some people from Germany, so I can see why she would get that. This mother-in-law is just a fucking bitch. You're coming to help, and you're literally making the mom feel bad about being a mom.
And I fear that is pretty standard with mother-in-laws.
I know, and I hate that.
Don't have your mother-in-law come to visit for a month to help out. Your mom can come for a couple weeks.
I even feel like a month isn't there. Like my brother just had a baby, and my parents came, and they like confirmed like, hey, are these dates right? Because they came kind of quick. They were like, are these dates right? They only stayed for a weekend. Every single time they were like, can we be helpful? Like, how can we be of assistance? And I feel like that's the way to go. Staying for a month is just so long.
Insane. Like
a week to me just like a month is just, unless you are literally struggling so much with the baby, I feel like a month is just such a long time to have anybody over for anything.
Yeah, they should come. They should stay in a hotel, and they should bring some frozen casseroles, but they should not be in your home. It's insane.
Or if they are in your home, only for a weekend. Yeah, and I'm not Italian.
Italians are all about being all up in your fucking space and business.
Which makes sense why the family dinners have to be there.
I sound like I know any Italians. I do not.
The Italians I know are fucking awful, so it's not really a good comparison. All the ones I know fucking suck, so I can't get into it.
How many Italians do you know?
Like 4. And all 4 of them fucking suck. I know Matteo Lane, and he's well, I don't know.
You know Matteo Lane?
No, I like
get him on the pod.
Matteo, you're invited. Anytime we both follow
friend
you.
Of a pod.
We both follow you, so you just have to message one of us, and we'll let you on, buddy. He's like, shut up. Matteo listens. He's like, don't even. He's like, don't call me out, you guys. It's okay, Matteo. He's the only Italian person I'm aware of that I don't hate at this time. So
okay.
That's a bit of a statement. Whatever.
Ariana Grande?
No, I'm just kidding. I do like her too, but I feel like I'm closer with Matteo.
Well, of course, because he listens.
Like I feel like I just like know a fan better than I know someone I'm a fan of.
So true.
It's just like who I am personally. But yeah, you are absolutely not even kind of the asshole. And I hope you read this paragraph and like feel bad that you ever thought you were the asshole. The fact that someone thinks they're an asshole for showing up basically topless. What? For breastfeed of all things.
Yeah.
I thought you were coming out just like tits ablazing for shits and gigs, not feeding a child. What?
Insane. You're not the asshole. And thank you guys so much for speaking of not the asshole. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Help with Hannah and Calvin. My name is Hannah Jones. You can find me at Hannah Jones Cool on all social media platforms.
And my name is Calvin Reed, REID, and you can find my name, first name, last name, _ on all social media platforms.
Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Bye.